and welcome to round 4 of the Ferrari Challenge by HyPrix and BOIZ, sponsored by concertmood.com. We'll leave you now with our commentators Alex Sinclair and Fabrizio Ravera.
The HyPrix Ferrari Challenge presented by Concert Mood. Let's see where we are in the race. We have just started on, I believe, lap 2 with 17 minutes remaining in race 1. As we can see, our leader today is a guest driver, Eric Pachito, also better known as Paco, a well-known HyPrix driver. And following him closely is Rory in his beautiful yellow and purple Ferrari, which, again, another well-known HyPrix driver. They are followed very closely by Hetch in third, average Viper Tom in fourth, with John and SJH in sixth. Presidio Dog is seventh, very closely followed by Gravel Top Tyler, and Grizzled Young Vet, Shaboobly Jones, Bacon, and Pigstecker renting at the field. For this race, we are looking at two 20-minute sprint races, with the top 10 being reversed for race 2. We expect Paco to do very well in this race. Paco is Marco, who is often joining me in the commentary booth, but for this race he is going to be filling in as a guest driver, and as you can see, doing very well. Let's go on board with Rory as he attempts to chase down Marco here. Gap does appear to be building just slightly. Marco knows this track well and has a lot of experience racing here, but Rory always puts up a fight no matter what track or car combo you're going to throw at him. And this may play into Marco's hand though, because Rory is being bothered by Hetch right behind him, who may look to make a move up the inside here. Can he get it done? Yes, he does. That was very clean, although he will have to defend on corner exit here because Rory's going to have a great run on him coming onto this straight. He is right on the bumper. He's going to peek out from behind before. Nope, that's a very difficult corner to try and overtake, and he's probably just going to have to follow him right through this whole section here and hope he can get another run. This track only has a few overtaking zones, and the rest is about trying to follow as close as you possibly can. Rory has a line around the outside. Can he hold it there? If he can't, no. It's just too difficult. He's holding on very well onto the back of that blue Ferrari from Hetch, but it might just not be enough here. Of course, all of this is playing into Marco's hand, who now has a 1.5 second lead. Take another look down through the field to see if we have any other battles going on. We have SJH and John. They're quite close together. That could be one to watch. And then Tom and Presidio Dog. And another couple of Ferraris glued together bumper to bumper. Rory is right on the back of that blue Ferrari from Hetch. They may in fact be bump drafting to try and catch and close that gap to Marco, whose lead is now down to 8/10. Rory goes down the inside, the same move that got him on the last lap. He returns the favor here. Now let's see if they'll work together to try and catch up with Marco, or are they going to start battling amongst each other? Now it's Hetch's job to follow the leader through this tight, twisty section at Tokyo Expressway. See a lot of these two-car groupings here, and that's mainly down to the drafting capabilities on this track. The long straight seems infinitely long when you're actually driving it, and so you can take a lot of draft and gain a lot of time if you take the right line. Now I think that we saw SJH make contact with the wall there. He's dropping considerably back off the back bumper of John. Put him back into the clutches of Presidio Dog. So one battle straight to another. Let's take a look at our leaders here. Hetch wasn't able to follow Rory through that tight and twisty section to the same degree that Rory was, which probably points to Rory being the faster overall driver here. But of course, unless they can catch Marco all alone up in first, that's going to be very difficult to do anything about the outcome of this race. Marco is very smooth through that section. He takes a very tight line and uses as much of that curbing as he possibly can. Pushes it right out to the wall. He does have the fastest overall lap in the race, which is a 156.2. He's definitely one of the pro drivers in this race. As an experienced HyPrix team member, we expected him to do well, but perhaps not immediately jump out to such a large lead so early in the race. Rory in second, Hesh is still in third, trying to claw back that gap to Rory and maybe make a bit of a fight with him. Now Hedge is one of our AM drivers, so he is leading his class even though it looks like he's third overall. This class is comprised of two separate divisions of Pro and AM. Let's take a look at this battle here. We have SJH and Presidio Dog. They're probably our closest two cars together on track at the moment. Presidio Dog can just get enough of a draft here to maybe pull out into that tight right-hander, excuse me. The visuals in this tunnel just are fantastic and really amplifies the sound of the cars. Blyfney Digital did a great job modeling that aspect of the audio physics. Is he going to go for the cutback here and get a better run? Again, this is another aspect where we have an AM driver fighting to get past a pro driver. So even being able to keep up here is quite a good representation of Presidio Dog's speed. Despite the lead that Marco has, these next few cars are all quite close together on track. One slip up, one wall bump, and you're back in the clutches of the car behind you and could be falling in the leaderboard quite fast. Oh, we saw Presidio Dog just scrape the wall there, but I think he got away with it. May have cost him a tenth or two. If we can get a good exit onto the onto the main straight here, again, which is easier said than done. That's very clean. Certainly that was a big wiggle from SJH. Here we go, it's another more time for drafting. go on board with Presidio Dog here. Yeah, you can see him just slightly bumping SJH here in an attempt to catch up with John, because Presidio Dog's main rival here is Hetch, not so much SJH or John. Because Presidio Dog and Hetch are 1-2 for the AM class overall. Oh, and they caught up a lot to John right there. That was some good, not necessarily teamwork, but working together to defeat a common opponent. And we have three. That 3 cars all close together. This could be very tough going through these S's. There's not a lot of room for mistakes, and if they start bump drafting, they got to be careful. You also got to be careful about taking different lines. That's a fantastic move by Presidio Dog to gain that position on SJH through that corner. That's not an easy thing to do. Oh, and they both grazed the wall there. That might give John just a little bit of an opportunity to slip away. We can see that gap increasing ever slightly. I think that was another mistake from Presidio Dog. I'm not sure. It happened slightly off camera. And SJH goes up the inside. Yeah, I think he did just make a slight touch on the wall there. Certainly SJH had a lot more speed coming out of that section. Let's take a look at our leaders at the moment. Hetch is in 3rd. 4.6 seconds off the overall lead, and about 2.5 seconds from Rory in 2nd. Marco is leading comfortably in 1st place with about a 2-second lead. We haven't seen that gap extend out as much as I thought it would, but it's still quite comfortable for a track like this, where once you can break the toe to the car behind, you have a little bit of room to play with. You don't have to push quite so hard. We have 6 minutes remaining, so I think Marco's doing everything he can to just keep it smooth, minimize mistakes here.
Hello?
Hey, we have Sig joining us. Hey Sig.
There we go. Hi everyone.
Finally, I was getting a bit lonely in the commentary box.
I know. Unfortunately, PSN doesn't really want me to interact with you at all. But
I see.
They're not gonna stop us. They're not gonna stop us.
They can take our freedom, but they can't. Oh, they can't take our freedom, I guess. Never mind.
Yes, probably. And actually, they will probably do it.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be cheerful about it.
We are.
And not gonna try and let them do this, I guess, but
We have a very good race going on. I don't know how much of you've been able to see so far. Oh, there was a lot of contact between John and SJH. I think John realizes he knocked into SJH a little bit too hard there and let him back pass, but that's made him culpable to Presidio Dog, who has now gained a place.
a good sportsmanship, of course, in this championship.
Yeah,
John
that's
being a very good guy.
John is excellent for that sort of behavior. He's never going to do you dirty.
This track, a couple of words on this track. I think it's a really good layout because it's basically like one huge straight and a bunch of fast corners, and that's it. So like this, of course, makes for some great racing, but also tests us, tests the skill of the drivers.
Yeah, I was talking to Marco before the race, and he said this is his favorite layout for this.
Yes, it's fantastic. The corners are very fast and flowing. The straight allows for a lot of passing opportunities. You know, it's great. Meanwhile, I'll tell you that Bacon and Pix at the back are not lonely at all.
Yeah, they're having their own little battle.
Yeah.
I was just keeping an eye on that. That's always good to see. 'Cause this is a series more about just having fun and the joy of competition more so than outright speed and glory like a lot of other sim racing leagues are.
Yes, of course. There's a varying range of skills in the league represented.
And it's helped a lot because it's given us some
whatever.
very close racing so far.
Oh yeah, of course. So whatever your level is, you're gonna have fun no matter what. What's not, what doesn't have a lot of variables is liveries, because they all look fantastic. I love
That's true.
them.
I am very impressed with the quality of these liveries. Oh, we have a good bottle brewing that I was not paying attention to. That's my fault. Presidio Dog, SJH, and John coming together, all three of them again. This pack has been together for a solid 10 minutes now, maybe, and they are pushing each other like crazy. And I think their goal here, I think they're probably going to be working a little bit together towards the end of this race, and then maybe on the last lap battle it out, because they want to catch up with Hetch, and that 3-car train has a lot of air removal aspects to it. And just as I say that, they go too wide into this tight hairpin.
Of course.
When you think
Because
one thing
why
with this game,
wouldn't you?
it's always the other.
Also, Snake in the chat asking me if I did my update upside down today. No, funny joke. But we actually got wiped out from the Sebring 12 hours, which is the reason
I
I'm
did
here
see
in the
that.
first
You had
place, but
P1 in qualifying and punted
I
in the
did.
race. That's a classic combo.
Yeah, a classic HyPrix tail. Which is
You almost
great
don't
to
want to
see,
get
of
P1 in
course.
qualifying because there's a higher chance of that happening.
No, like the accident happened like 3 hours into the race, but still, yeah, that wasn't great.
Now Marco has pulled out a little bit more of a lead heading onto this final lap here. He has 3.7 seconds in hand. That's probably enough for Marco to hang on for the win in race 1 here.
Unless someone sends him a meme on his phone and he looks at it and laughs and loses
I wonder
the
who
lead.
could
That
possibly
might be
do
a
that.
thing. I don't know, but you know, everything's possible in racing, you know.
I think we are going to have to keep an eye on Hetch and John, SJH and Presidio Dog across this final lap here, because I think those are the cars that are the closest with the highest stakes. I don't see anyone else out on track with as tight a battle as this. Oh, Presidio Dog looks up the inside, but there just isn't enough space there. SJH did well, but I think he's run wide himself and allowed Presidio Dog to get a much better exit out of that corner. So yeah, he tucks back in behind Presidio Dog and hopes that they can make it a run to the finish line. It's really going to depend on how much he can follow them through these S's. And Presidio Dog makes another mistake. We've seen him do that a few times in this race. But if SJH can just hang on through these S's, he should have a shot at grabbing that 5th place finish right at the line. Does appear to have dropped a little bit off the back here. But if he can stay clean through this section, he might have one last chance. He's certainly too far away to make a dive up the inside, but it might be possible. I think he's probably realized it's a little bit too much now, so let's have a look at our leader as he crosses the line for his debut victory in the HyPrix Ferrari Challenge presented by Concert Moon. That is the finish. Congratulations to Marco for his first win. 1 out of 1 races. It's pretty good going. And Rory
Perfect
comes
record.
home
He should
second.
probably retire.
He should. Hetch
He
comes in third, taking the AM class victory. John in fourth, and Presidio Dog in fifth. SJH couldn't quite beat Presidio Dog to the line there. A strong effort from Tom, who finishes seventh, and Shaboobly Jones comes in eighth, sorry. And that was race 1. So I think they're gonna look to go to race 2 pretty quickly, because I know there was a few delays at the start here.
Yes, and in typical SIG fashion, I will try to find out who's hosting the lobby, because I am not friends with him.
I believe it's
which
John.
Is the reason. Okay.
Okay, so between races, we're going to talk a little bit here about our sponsor, Concert Mood. Concert Mood is a new podcast detailing in music reviews. And one of the best things that I can say about it is that it's quite short, which, I mean, we're all very in tune with podcasts these days, and some of them running 2-3 hours at a time now. It's very difficult to find time for those things, but Concert Move running anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes, that's kind of perfect if you're just going to the shops, doing some groceries, doing some chores around the house. You can just stick it on and listen to a little bit about music and a little bit more in depth about the good things and the bad things about new releases, and some old classics too. But perhaps the best aspect of it is that it's pretty varying in music taste. You'll probably find at least one artist that will take your eye and find yourself hooked. That's always a good way to get into a podcast. Find the episode that you would be interested in anyway, and then you tend to enjoy the actual podcast format in general. So we do recommend checking out Concert Mood, who have currently sponsored HyPrix as a sim racing team, and both for this event too. And it looks like the guys are warming up for race 2 already. That was fast, as we expected. They're very good at this.
Looks like we have a night session.
Yes, I appreciate that they've put quite a lot of effort into varying up the different sessions in the series. We had a dry race followed by a wet race last week, and that proved very entertaining.
Yes, and I'm not ashamed to say this, but for being a PS4 game, GT Sport does a very good job at graphics and
it's
light
unbelievable, isn't it? It's up there with iRacing as the best looking right now, if not better in some aspects of it.
Yes, like I think the two games in common have that they look familiar. They look like you would expect a real life to.
Yeah.
Which is something that not all simulators / games manage to do.
Yeah, we've seen some of them go for a slightly more stylized approach. Certainly,
yes,
ACC
yes.
and Project Cars have a distinct aesthetic that you can recognize. ACC, I think, has a little bit of that Need for Speed realism sometimes, where things are a little bit too shiny and a little bit too reflective, maybe. And Project Cars 2, I think, has the opposite, where it's a little too flat. And both great-looking games, don't get me wrong.
It looks like a comic.
Yeah.
In some regards, but of course, to each their own. It's just every time I come back from my racing to GT Sport, I'm always amazed at how well they manage to do with what is now a very, very old piece of hardware. The PS4 is what 8 years old, 9 years old, something like that.
Yeah, I don't imagine a company being able to pull these sort of graphics out of PC hardware from that time. This is certainly
Oh yeah,
pushing the hardware to its absolute limit to get these sort of
absolutely.
these looks and shaders.
Meanwhile, I saw a little bit of NASCAR action right here with some bump drafting. This is always good.
We do have a few NASCAR fans in the league, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yes. And a few occasional NASCAR fans like myself, which means that I like NASCAR when it's not boring me out of my mind. Controversial opinion, I know.
Controversial opinion. This sport is good when it is good.
That is, wow. I'm like, why are you booing me? I'm right. Sort of stuff right here. Of course, this being a sprint race, there is no tire wear, so the drivers are able to push to the max.
Yeah, I quite like that
from
aspect
start
of this.
To finish.
A lot of people talk about realism in sim racing, and I think you have to appreciate that to some degree, but for games like this where there is a barrier to just the levels of realism you can achieve, I do think it's easier to go for overall fun and competitiveness sometimes, and maybe just pull back 5%, 10% on the realism, and it makes for a better experience for everyone.
I agree with you. There are some in some communities there are people who take the game or simulator too seriously, and that ends up carving out all the fun that's supposed to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think at the end of the day we do need to remember this is a video game. Some sim racing leagues, while producing great content and great racing, they do tend to forget that the fun aspect. If you can't make it fun for people, they're not going to show up.
Exactly. That's the other point I was going to make. That every game and simulator is what you want it to be, and so of course you can take GT Sport very seriously. There are very serious sports competitions that are around, you know? The GT World Championships and stuff. The GT
and they do
World
great
Tour.
work with that.
Absolutely, absolutely. They put on a fantastic show while delivering a very competitive scene. But of course, we're not really aiming for that sort of I would say almost market or audience. We're just providing a bit of fun for nice.
Oh, we're about to go green in
hang
race
out
2. Here we
together.
go. We have Pigstecca leading us off, followed by Bacon, Gravel Top Tyler, Grizzle Young Det, and Shabooby Jones. That's our top 5 for race 2, and they're away. Oh, a little bit of a slow start by Bacon, who started falling into the clutches of cars behind him already. Very clean by Pigstecca. And Tyler up to second already. That's a great start from Tyler. Ooh, it's very nice seeing that many cars all together heading into this very tight right-hander. 3 wide for the lead. 3 wide for the lead going. And Pigstecca holds them. That was great work. Shabooby Jones now up to second though, and Bacon making a great recovery. He's up to third. I thought he was in trouble off the start of the line there, but that seemed to bode well for him. He's done well. Shabooby making a move up the inside of Pigstecca. Is he going to hold that? I think he just might. Pix is certainly making it difficult for him. There is a lot of cars all together here.
It is great to see.
Shabooby has just made a little bit of a gap. Viper, average Viper, who is Tom, is in second. And I saw someone hit the wall back there. I don't know who it was, but it looked like that would have been costly given how close the pack is right now. And our race 1 winner, Marco's already up to 3rd. We expected him to make a lot of progress through the pack very quickly, but perhaps not on lap 1 even. This is our long left-hander leading onto the main straight, which seems to go on forever. And we have Shabubli, Average Viper, Paco in 3rd, SJH in 4th, followed by Hetch, John, Gravel Top Tyler, Rory, Grizzled Young Vet, Presidio Dog in 10th, and Pixteca and Toxic Bacon running out at our grid. Oh, and I think Marco has just taken the lead there, 3 wide down the main straight. This is going to be very tough. Marco had a great run out of that last corner.
It really is. Really is.
And even behind them, oh my god, look at those 4 wide behind them. 5 wide. This is going to be difficult. Oh, that's a huge pack of cars. Oh, and Hesh just... Oh, that was very difficult by Hesh. He rubbed Rory, but he's also gotten mugged on that corner by SJH. There's just so many guys here all together. Presidio Dog and Grizzled Young Vet having a battle. Gravel Top Tyler perhaps falling back into the clutches. Pixteca. Oh, but Pixteca just make contact with the wall there. Maybe we can see Bacon capitalize on that and make a decent run through these S's if we can keep it clean. Shabubli Jones is out in front though. He managed to survive that first corner ahead of Marco. That is a group of 4 fighting for the lead.
I am still amazed at how clean all of that was.
It's so good, isn't it?
It was a 2 kilometer straight leading into a tight hairpin, and nobody died.
F1 doesn't get that clean.
Incredible. That is, like, it sounds stupid, but it is actually the truth, because F1 doesn't get that. That's insane.
That is the top 5 cars together all on track. Let's go on board with Ross here. I can't actually select the onboard camera.
Battle for the lead is helping the guys behind keeping contact with everyone else. Of course, when you're fighting, you're not really pushing as hard as you can because you have to account for other people, which makes other people very, very close behind.
I know just from knowing Marco that he is going to be really enjoying this. He doesn't want the easy victories, he wants these kind of bloodbaths. That is 4 wide heading into the hairpin. That's not going to work. Rory runs very deep. Who's going to come out in front here? This is... I think that's Marco. I think Marco just has it ahead of Rory here. But Average Viper Tom is not going to let Rory have this place easily, especially with the next corner being a right-hander. Oh, Rory made a very clean move in there. Again, I think we talked a little bit about this in race 1, but the key to this isn't necessarily trying to fight your other rivals around this part of the track. You want to make your moves into those tight hairpins at each end of the track and try and bump draft as much as possible down the straight.
Absolutely. Not only this is a show of skill, but it is also a show of racecraft and how smart you are planning your race. Because if you make a very good overtake, but in the end, people behind you catch you up and pass you on the main straight, that's not going to be a move that was really needed or smart. So that's a very interesting aspect of this race.
Can we just take a moment again to appreciate how good the camera work is in this game? I think that's probably what it does better than any other game. That you have these very cinematic, variable camera angles.
Yes, because you know, I keep comparing it to iRacing because that's what I play the most. Like iRacing tends to have some like somewhat quote-unquote realistic camera angles.
Yeah, they mimic a broadcast.
Cameras, exactly. Whereas GT's board says, nah, screw that. We're going full cinematic.
They're 4
cool
wide again
shots.
into that hairpin. This is unbelievable how close and clean these battles are. This is amazing racing. We're nearly halfway into this race and this pack just shows no signs of splitting up.
First pack of 4 seems to have made a bit of a break for it.
Yeah, Rory's right on the bumper of Marco now though. I think he knows he let him get away early in race 1 and he's keen to pressure him a little harder here in the early stages of this race because you know Marco racing against him, if you give him a little space he's gone.
Which is why you need to punt him off.
We do not condone punting, but if it's against Marco, perhaps.
If it's against Marco, then it's fine, yes.
He left me high and dry in the commentary booth this week. I wanted to race, so yeah, I'm rooting for Rory, 100%.
Yes, of course.
I think they both got a pretty clean exit out of that corner, but Rory is just benefiting from the draft here. He's going to do the smart thing and try and build a little bit of a gap back to Hedge in third by bump drafting Marco down the straight rather than immediately making a move. That's not to say he's not going to make a move into this tight hairpin again though.
I think if you're Rory right now, what you're sort of focusing on is, okay, let's build a gap to 3rd and 4th place, which are still pretty close, so then at the end of the race we can fight properly.
And of course it gives you more flexibility to make that risky move, knowing that you're not going to fall back immediately and lose a spot. Because we do see a lot of drivers do that. They try and move on one person, it doesn't work, and then it costs them a position. They're overtaken into the next section. Currently John is leading this train of 4 cars through the sweeping S's, but I mean this order has changed so many times already in this race that I wouldn't be surprised that next time through they're in a completely different sequence.
You know, when they say, oh man, I couldn't get any closer than this, and then it gets closer, I think that's just what's happening.
I'm gonna show some love to Gravel Top Tyler on the stream right now because I designed the livery and I have not seen it under night lights like this, and I think I'm even more happy with it now, seeing it on a track with this lighting conditions, than I was seeing it before.
Man, it's a purple livery. How can you go wrong with a purple livery? There's no way. Probably, unless you're Ferrari. In that case, you would mess it up anyway, because like, I'm getting dragged away. Let's get back to the race.
Yeah, this group of 4 cars here did work together to catch up Tom, Average Viper, in 4th here. Oh, and Rory seems to have made a mistake because he's dropped back to 3rd. We were just talking about protecting a lead there. Perhaps he made a move or even a mistake. But either way, Hetch has grabbed that spot and gone up to 2nd overall, which is kind of fantastic for an AM driver. I think we may have to look into his classification pretty soon.
Yeah, do you think we've got a Mercedes case on our hands? You know,
little bit of sandbagging.
Added weight, yeah.
I mean, Hetch's lap times are 0.3 of a second off Marco's fastest.
I think that's sand coming out of Hetch's exhaust.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time. So I think Rory may have to do some damage control here and just focus on getting that second place back, because we talked about this earlier. Marco's gone. He's scampered up the road 2 seconds clean of these guys.
Yeah, in a matter of just a few seconds, Marco's managed to open up a lead that just allows him to control the race much more easily, as opposed to having to push and having to plan according to what his rivals are doing. His last lap was a 56.0, which of course was the fastest lap of the race.
But if we look a little bit further down the field, we still have that group of 4 cars all together. John has slipped up into 4th place. That's a nice move by John to take advantage here, but right down the inside goes Average Viper, and he runs way too deep. I think that may have cost him a couple places there. He might be at the back of this pack following this section. Oh, he only lost the one spot. He did very well on exit there. Oh, Presidio Dog making contact with the wall again. We've seen that a few times at this track. He just doesn't have the rhythm down for these snaking S's.
Of course, sometimes it can be very tough to judge properly where your car is when the walls are that close and you're going that fast.
Yeah.
It can be really tricky.
And battling.
Yes, of course.
He has the raw speed though, because even though he's making contact with the walls, he's keeping up with this pack easily.
Absolutely.
He has a best lap of 157.2.
That's not bad at all.
It's a little bit slower than the rest of these guys, but I think it's his consistency. He's been hitting 357s in a row.
Of course, the draft plays a very important part in these races, so even if you're a little bit slower, you're still able to keep up and make your move into a race like this.
Here we go, we've got more bump drafting going on the back straight. I think Viper pulled out a little bit too early there, but overall they're all going 2 by 2 into this hairpin again, it looks like. John lost dearly there. That's dropped him to the back of that group of 4. Presidio Dog takes quite a wide line, and so does Grizzled Young Vet, which allows John to slip back up to 5th. And just like that, Tom is in 4th. Just less than a lap ago we were talking about him being at the back of this pack, and now he's leading it, so it shows how fast things are changing here. I'm gonna look away just quickly and run through the rest of the cars while they run through these S's. We have SJH in 8th, Shabubli Jones running quite a quiet race in 9th, ahead of Tyler in 10th. Just made some contact with the wall there, scratching that lovely livery. Pixteca is in 11th, quite comfortably ahead of Bacon in 12th right now. But again, Bacon's consistency, he knows he's not the fastest driver on the grid, so he's out there running to try and get that consistency then. He's really nailing that lately. He's 201s on every lap except for one, which is a 202.0, which is, I'll give that to you. That's pretty consistent.
Once again, about liveries, a word of praise for Bacon's livery, because
fantastic
I love
livery.
I
think it's the best
fantastic.
livery he's made.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's on brand. It's I love the scheme. I just love it. It's simple,
the monochromatic
so
HyPrix design works very well, especially on this car.
Yes, I agree.
And out in front, Marco has gained a 3.4 second lead already. But Rory has caught up with Hedge and is gonna decide now's the time to battle. Oh, and he cuts right back underneath. Hedge is gonna attempt to cut him off, but I don't think he has enough there. He may have just held the position. I don't think Rory got a good exit on that corner. By running wide, Hetch got himself more acceleration out of there, because more area equals more speed, and thus was able to pull ahead ever so slightly. But it's good to see Rory not backing down from a fight. Not that he ever has. I think Rory might be the best driver in this field at following someone else through those S's. He's very good at just parking himself on the next car's bumper and just kind of...
Yes, because it can be very tricky to follow somebody through corners so fast, such as these, because
the braking is so subtle.
Yes, and a lot of your vision is just blocked by the car in front, which of course doesn't help to spot your braking references and your apex. It's never easy. But
you really need a lot of confidence.
Absolutely, I managed to do that very well every time he's been behind the car.
John and Tom are bumper to bumper again down the main straight, followed right behind them by SJH and Presidio Dog. That group of four has split up into 2 packs of 2 now, so it'll be interesting to see if that helps their overall speed or perhaps hinders it, because certainly battling 4 wide is going to slow anyone down. On average, Tom tries to make a move up the inside. Can he make that stick? John runs a little bit wide, but he will get a better exit onto this sweeping section here. It's very tight. And yes, John just held it. That was very nice defense. Give Tom space to make his move, and then use the extra runoff to get a better momentum. And we already only have a little over a minute remaining in this race. Let's take another look down through the pack.
This will be the final lap, of course. This is a timed race.
This is a timed race, correct.
When the time expires, well, that's the last lap. There you go.
When you cross the line with 0 on the clock, the race is over.
There you go.
You have...
Unless you are a Toyota, in which case the race is over at 23 hours and 57 minutes.
It's certainly over for you.
That. Don't quote me. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Too soon, man. I shouldn't have made that joke. I regret it.
No, they've won Le Mans. It's fair now. It's all fair game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have seen Marco back off ever so slightly, maybe, because that lead is 2.6 seconds now. And perhaps it was just Rory pushing with Hetch in that battle. They're pushing each other down those straights, so that is going to bring them a little bit closer than if you're running solo on a track like this. But it does appear to be that heading through this final lap, through these S's for the last time, that Marco is going to take a second victory, 2 for 2, and the overall round win. John has cleared that pack behind him, but they appear to be bunching up
Ross
again.
Finds himself behind another car in the fast S's.
Yeah.
And he's going to have, if he manages to do what he did all race, which is maintain a very small gap, he's going to have a very good chance on the run down to the finish line.
I think he may even go for the move at the braking point here. He's tried to, he just wasn't close enough, but that's a much better, a much cleaner exit. So we'll see, this might be just a run to the line I don't know if he has quite enough space left. He may just run out of track before he can get there. It's 2 tenths. He has to follow him. Hedge is swerving quite a lot across that track. And Rory's gonna go side by side, and he's gonna get it. Rory has just stolen it at the line. That is fantastic. Wow. Oh boy.
There's a lot of weaving. But of course, on the last lap, everything is fair.
Yeah.
Sort of.
These guys all know their limits. They know what's fair and what's not. I think we've seen good sportsmanship right across the board. And I think the same thing happened with John and SGH. They were separated by 0.03 of a second as well at the line. That's fantastic. That was a great race. I wonder if we can get Marco in here for a quick interview. He's no stranger to the commentary booth, that's for sure. Sig, do you think you could invite Marco to the party?
Yes, I will work on it. We should have him here shortly.
Okay, perfect.
Providing the technical equipment doesn't fire back at us.
Yes. We have spoken a lot about how much we love Gran Turismo and its systems.
Absolutely.
And graphics, but PlayStation 4 as a whole is really showing its age as of late.
Well, looks like we've got a race winner in our lobby here.
Marco, are you here?
I think his voice might be charging up and loading, but there it is.
Hey, Marco, hello.
We can hear you, Marco.
Two for two. How was that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm in the lead of the commentary championship, right?
Yeah, until next
thing.
week when I destroy everyone.
Yeah, next week when we do race. That's good. It was great. I was kind of... I never raced with this car on this truck until like half an hour ago.
The start of race 2 was a little bit closer for you than perhaps you expected it to be. There was a lot of battling, even though you were the fastest car out there.
I expected that because I came on this track with almost a super speedway mentality, with how the bump drafts works and all this kind of stuff. So like I just wanted to build over a 1.5 to 2 second gap and just work with it. I think I managed it pretty well. I was kind of scared at the start of the race because I'm not involved in every battle for the championship, so I just didn't want to send anyone to the wall, basically. It was cool.
Yeah, you ran very clean out in front. Rory gave you a few challenges here and there, but overall it was your race in race 1 and race 2.
Yeah, I expected a lot more battle, I have to be honest. I was lucky race 2. Ross had a great intuition of bump draft me to get a little bit more away from the group, and then he made a mistake. So
yeah, so we were just talking about how that can be the key to a race, because that almost gave you a gap that allowed you to say, hey, okay, now I'm in control. Let's play this out.
Yeah, more than in control, I was like, I'm gonna keep pushing. I wanna do the fast lap.
Yeah, we did see that.
Yeah, I mean, without slipstream, you lose like 7-8 tenths. I was kind of scared the last laps when Hatch and Roski started working together. I think I lost like a second and a half.
Yeah, we saw that.
I did notice that, yes.
They were bump drafting then that long straight, and it did take quite a lot of time in a short space out of you. But it still wasn't enough because they couldn't. It was too close to the end of the race, so they still had to fight out their own personal battle.
Yeah.
What was it like starting in race 2 from a less natural position for you?
Cool. I just hoped that turn one went like it went in reality. I gained like 6 places just there. Uh, I even raced a little bit too hard with some drivers like with Shabubli. It was kind of slower at the start, but I was like in second place and I wanted to keep pushing him. Just say, let's go. I can take you with me. It's not a problem, but just let me pass. Run into my pace. On a track like this, is kind of hard because, like, when you have to brake, you just have to brake in a perfect moment, like at 30% of the brake. So it's like it's really like you need to have your pace, your timings, and stuff. So like in a group, it's kind of more hard. So
Yeah.
I was kind of lucky to escape from the group that fast.
There was quite a lot of group battles going on behind you that were kind of they ended up giving you a lot of space because there was no singular person that could catch you. Now, obviously, you were the fastest guy out there anyway. We somewhat
Alex
expected
wasn't
that.
here. I had to make my best impression with him. I think it went kind of good. I didn't lap anyone, so I'm sorry, Alex.
Well, yeah, you will be docked points for that.
My inextended points. It was good. I'm gonna watch the Bristol race right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, thanks for joining the broadcast at the end.
That was great.
I believe we can get Hetch in here now if I can accept his friend request and invite him to the party. He is our winner for this championship, and we're going to ask him a few questions about whether or not he thinks he is actually an AM driver anymore, because certainly he put up quite a display. Or bad cop. Yeah.
I am so glad that you're on my same wavelength on these stupid thoughts.
You know we've all spent too long in Discord together when this happens.
And we share the same brain cell.
Yeah.
So.
I think there's one brain cell between 30 ORSC members.
Yes. I couldn't count right now because someone else is using brain cell, but it looks like we've got Hetch in here. Hello, man. What's up?
Hey, Hetch. That was quite a clean-cut victory, to the extent where you nearly had overall victory, and certainly an extremely strong performance. How was that out there?
Thanks a lot. My brain is roasted, so that was very tough because the course is full speed the whole time.
Yeah.
And, keeping the guys behind is very tough, especially in the middle part and the long straight. You can't do anything, but in the middle part it's very hard to keep the pace and keep the guys behind, watching the mirror, and
You were battling a lot with Rory, Ross21. He is obviously a very established pro driver, and you are an AM driver, and yet for a lot of the race it looked like you were the faster of the two. Now, he got you just at the line. That was a very close race right to the line, which is what we all want to see. But do you think you could see yourself moving up to the pro class anytime soon?
I don't know. I've never expected that I would be driving in between of the pro drivers. That's why I registered for AM. And I think the guys are pretty fast. I think I like this track, so I think I had a little bit luck today. yeah, but we will see. Maybe the next event.
It's a decision that I'm sure the organizers are going to look into. Who is this super fast AM guy, and why is he causing such a disruption? Did you know that the battle with Rory at the end would be so close? That final push to the line where he just got you. Were you expecting that going through the last corner?
Yeah, I knew this move was coming. And at the beginning of the last lap, the first corner, I tried to let him by. But I guess he had the same idea.
Yeah.
So I was in front, and at the end, I knew this move would come, and yeah.
He almost didn't make it. He almost ran out of track before that finish line came. It was about as close as you can possibly get, but still a great performance overall. You got the AM victory, which is the most important thing, and overall podium as well is great to see. Okay, I think that's probably it for this week's broadcast. Thanks to Sig for joining me in the commentary booth, filling in for my partner Marco. And again, thanks to Hetch. Thanks for coming on and giving the interview. And congrats again on the win. Look forward to seeing you again next week.
Yeah, okay. See you next week.
Thanks everyone. That was HyPrix Ferrari Challenge presented by Concert Mood. And we will see you next Saturday.